Hi, this is Diane Cannon. You're listening to TV Confidential.
Ed Robertson, along with our guest Laurence Luckinbill. Larry's autobiography, Affective Memories, How Chance and the Theater Saved My Life, is the classic American story of a broken man who finds redemption and a second lease on life through the love of a good woman, that woman being Lucy Arnaz, Larry's wife of the past 45 years. Larry's book also gives you insight into who Lucille Ball was as a person without taking anything away from Lucille Ball, the performer. He also includes many great stories of working with such legends from stage, film, and television as Angela Lansbury, Tom Cruise, Otto Preminger, Diane Cannon, William Shatner, many, many others. Affective Memories, How Chance and the Theater Saved My Life, available wherever books are sold through Sunbury Press. You can also find Affective Memories, Amazon.com, where books are sold online. For more on Laurence Luckinbill, LaurenceLuckinbill.com. Before we went to break, Larry, we were talking about how your book is a book that transcends genres. This is a book that reminded me of the books I read when I'm a recovering English major. So this reminds me of many of the books I read when I was in school.
What was your favorite type of book?
My favorite book is A Fan's Notes by Frederick Exley.
What's the name of it?
A Fan's Notes by Frederick Exley, E-X-L-E-Y. It won the American Book Award 60 or 62, if I remember correctly. I've read it at least 3 times. I want to read it again. The first time I read it, I loved the way his stream of consciousness, telling of a story. The second and third times I read it, I understood a lot of the story, the human story he was talking about. I also love the Spencer mystery novels by Robert B. Parker.
Yes, me too. I read them all. And then the new Robert Parker.
Meaning the ones who have continued writing the Spencer novels since Robert B. Parker's passing.
Isn't as good as Robert Parker.
I agree on that. What I particularly learned about writing from reading Parker, and this is something I've applied in my own writing, is he was a master at writing with economy, saying a lot but not using a lot of words.
Yes. That's good in every case, and I have to say I probably wrote too much, but I tried really to get every sentence something that would lead you forward, every single sentence, so that it wouldn't seem like it was too many words, you know?
Well, I will say 2 things to you on this.
Okay.
Your book is epic length, but it is a page-turner. And you do this from the get-go. One of the things I talk to my clients about, my writing clients about, is you need to grab the reader's attention from the start and maintain the reader's attention for the length of the book, whether it's 100 pages or 400 pages. You need to maintain so that they don't put down the book and never go back to it again. You don't have that problem, Larry. You grab the reader's attention from the start, and we keep wanting to learn more about your life and, your various episodes in New York on Broadway in the 60s, your first adventures in network episodic television in the 60s and 70s, the backstory of how you came to write your one-man shows, and your personal story all in between. It is riveting in every sense of the word, and you may write with more words than Robert B. Parker, but you are no less effective in your prose.
Well, thank you. I'm awed by your what you're saying.
Yeah.
It just it makes me feel awfully good, and you're a great guy to talk to, and I'd like to know more about you.
Okay. Well, maybe one of these days, if I make it down to the desert, maybe we'll have a cup of coffee or something together.
Why not?
Okay.
Why not? Yeah, we've got a lot of coffee places. Including our house.
Okay.
Which is the best coffee.
Laurence Luckinbill is on the line with us. Laurence Luckinbill, Hank from the Boys in the Band, Glenn Garth Gregory from the Delphi Bureau, Sybok from Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, and the author of Affective Memories, How Chance and the Theater Saved My Life. Affective Memories available wherever books are sold through Sunbury Press. You can also find it at Amazon.com, where books are sold online. For more on Laurence Luckinbill, LaurenceLuckinbill.com. We have a few minor things in common. One of which is I grew up in the Bay Area, and I lived in Berkeley for a time, not far from the campus, not far from the theater area. But I learned my love for well-brewed, well-ground coffee comes from I live not far.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you remember the smell of coffee coming from San Francisco?
Yep.
Every morning?
Yep.
You know, there was a coffee grinding company just over the bridge, just to the other side of Bay Bridge.
Yeah.
And I when I would go to work in Oakland at the cannery on Fruitvale, I'd get in the bus, but it was about 5:30 in the morning. But I could always smell fresh coffee ground coffee coming from the bay. Yeah. And it really stuck with me as a aphrodisiac almost. You know, it was a fantastic. It just drew me to San Francisco at night. You know, I would get in a bus and go across, and it didn't matter to me if I slept or not. I'd have fun in San Francisco looking for work as an actor or whatever. But the smell of coffee, oh my God. And Berkeley was the same. My first experience up there was, as I wrote about, was walking through Sattergate, and going to that aptitude test. And I was so scared then. I probably couldn't have smelled. I could barely think, you know. But I have to look back at my life and say I had so many opportunities that mentors led me to, and I'm so grateful that I took their advice in spite of probably my bad intentions at times. You know, at this point, I feel like I read the Zen Offerings book every morning, and you know, and I also talk to my wife's old principal at Immaculate Heart School in L.A., which is up by Los Feliz, you know. And she sends me books and Bibles, and a book that I've got called Christology, and she wants me to. I've tried to read this thing. It's by a Jesuit, of course, and so it's so dense about something that you go, okay, let's not already believe this, pal. Whatever. let's move on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you retain any of your Catholic stuff, but
once upon a time, I studied to be a Christian brother.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
I have 8 years of Catholic grammar school.
So did I.
4 years of high school, Catholic high school, and then I went to a Catholic college while studying to be a Christian brother until I realized during the fourth year that this program was not for me. But in the course of studying to be a Christian brother, we, in addition to my own major as an English major, we had a lot of classes on the founder. We had classes on the Eucharist. We had classes on the history of the church, and so I'm not a practicing Catholic in that I don't always go to Mass on Sunday, but there are things about my faith that I retain and practice, or do my best to practice every day, if that makes sense.
Right, yes, it does. It does. And I remember well the effect it had on me, and it's still there. And I don't go to Mass anymore, but I think it's more the fact that I find it very difficult to believe certain things about the church anymore.
Yeah.
I guess the administration of the church, and of course the problem with the priests and all of that. But Sister Ruth Ann, I called her once. I said, Ruth Ann, good morning. She said, I am so angry at the Catholic Church today. I said, well, okay, you're a nun. What are you mad about today? And she's 93 or 4 years old. She's still bright and sassy.
Mm-hmm.
And so she sends me these things, and we argue over, she read the book,
Mm-hmm.
and she I think she felt a little insulted by it. But I was good about the nuns, wasn't I?
Yes, you were, and we're going to get to this. There is very much a providential thread in your life, and throughout. That's one of the motors that drives Affective Memories as a book, Larry. Is that there are several moments in your life in which case one of the nuns that was either, I think, one of your high school teachers was one of the ones that first encouraged you to pursue a career in the theater, or
Yes,
at least.
Well, she hit me with such a good right cross, and knocked me on my ass.
Yeah.
Out of the chair. You remember that scene?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
It was true what she said. She said, "Don't laugh at the words of poet."
That's right.
Don't laugh at words. If you don't know how to communicate, you don't amount to anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me think, well, what am I? What am I? I love being a slacker, but I wasn't really a slacker. I was a slacker to get along with slackers, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
To hang out with that crowd that were always like, anyway, like the character Jimmy Dean plays in Giant.
Mm-hmm.
Just mad. But anyway, yes, I still search for answers, and I'm trying to develop my own theology, believe it or not. And I told Lucy that the other day, and she said, "What?" Yeah, she said, "Why are you doing that? You don't waste your time." I said, okay, this is a personal thing.
Well, I'm thinking aloud here, but this just occurred to me, that right cross that sister, landed on you, that was your Paul knocked off from the horse moment.
Yes, yeah.
No,
it was like Paul Saul.
Yeah, exactly.
I fell off the donkey.
Exactly. And if you don't know what we're talking about, folks, I encourage you to pick up a copy of Affective Memories, How Chance and the Theater Saved My Life by Laurence Luckinbill, available wherever books are sold, through Sunbury Press as well as Amazon.com. And I do want to circle back to one of the key takeaways from reading your book, Larry, is, okay, we've been riffing on the smell of coffee in Berkeley, the smell of freshly brewed coffee in San Francisco, memories from Catholicism. We are illustrating, folks, the title of Larry's book, Affective Memories, which is an acting term. Affective Memories is an acting term that stems from Stanislavski as part of teaching the method. It refers to a technique that actors use to find an emotion that almost fits the moment in whatever scene they are playing. But as a reader, your book is also steering Affective Memories for me, and so it's Affective Memories is a play on words. It has two meanings, and that's one of the things that makes your book so rich.
Yes, and I will add one thing to that. Chance is my mother.
Yes.
My mother wanted me to have a chance, and she never let up on that. And all the mass cards that were sent my way, that helped a lot.
Yep.
But I would like to get into some of the bits and pieces of humor that are in the book. I particularly am fond of the Michael Landon one, where I'm doing Bonanza, and it's a perfect picture of a kind of an arrogant asshole actor that I was at the time, who was put on a horse for the first time.
Well, you learn the differences between a movie horse and a horse.
Exactly. Yeah. and then I had to repeat that in Star Trek. It's all rather interesting. I never have learned to love those equine beauties, but we go down to Del Mar once in a while and watch them run.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're beautiful, But I don't want to be on one.
Yeah, but again, this is okay. This may not be the best example of an affective memory, but I would imagine when you first rode the horse as Cybok in 1980 something.
88, yeah.
Okay, you may have drawn on your first experience riding a movie horse when you did that Bonanza 20-something years earlier.
Yeah. Yes, I did. And I learned from the wrangler.
Yes.
What to do with a horse.
Yes.
And how that they're smarter than we are.
Yes, and movie horses are trained to be on a movie set, and they're trained to listen to the bells and whistles and all of that. And if you're an actor who does not know that, you can get yourself hurt.
Yeah. And I watched the Black Stallion the other day on TCM. Mm-hmm. It was so beautiful, and I thought, man, the horse is an animal that has gone along with the dog to civilize the humans that they live with.
Laurence Luckinbill is on the line with us. Laurence Luckinbill, Hank from the Boys in the Band, Glenn Garth Gregory from the Delphi Bureau, Cybok from Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, and the author of Affective Memories, How Chance and the Theater Saved My Life. Larry will be back next week for part 2 of our conversation. He'll share a few more memories of working on Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, including working with William Shatner. We'll also ask him about some of his other movie and TV roles as well. Part 2 of our conversation with Laurence Luckinbill next week on TV Confidential. In the meantime, Affective Memories is available wherever books are sold through Sunbury Press. You can also find it at Amazon.com, where books are sold online. For more on Laurence Luckinbill, LawrenceLuckinbill.com. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. One more item. Are you starting a company in an emerging market or developing something new? Do you have intellectual property but aren't sure how to protect it? Reach out to our friends at Tectonic Law. They offer rock-solid representation for groundbreaking industries who need help capturing and protecting their full portfolio of intellectual property and intangible assets, including trademark rights, brand assets, copyright rights, publicity rights, and privacy rights. Tectonic Law streamlines the complex intricacies of intellectual property and business law in easy-to-understand terms that will help you and your company form a concrete plan of action to secure and protect the value of your brand and your creative work product. Tectonic Law is licensed to practice throughout the state of California. They also practice before such tribunals as the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. Go to tectoniclaw.com, tectoniclaw.com, to learn more about how Tectonic Law can help your business thrive. tectoniclaw.com. Rock-solid representation for groundbreaking industries.
This portion of TV Confidential is brought to us by our friends at Front Porch Realty, the community of realtors in the Northern Bay area of California that is committed to finding the solution that is best for their clients. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to sell or lease your property in Northern California, call Karen Strain at 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com for more information on how they can help you.
This is Irene Fierce, and you're listening to TV Confidential.
Next week's edition of TV Confidential will also include a return appearance by Allison Mills Newman. Allison Mills Newman, the actress many of you will remember from her appearances on Julia and The Leslie Uggam Show. She is also the author of an autobiographical novel called Francisco, which we'll talk about next week on TV Confidential. Got about a minute left, enough time to tell you that if you're a fan of Ozzie and Harriet or know someone who is, our friends at MPI Home Video have just released a brand new 2-DVD set featuring a collection of rare footage and featurettes featuring television's original sitcom family. The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet video scrapbook includes such featurettes as The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet Revisited, Remembering Ricky, and Restoring history, plus a conversation with Ozzie Nelson, vintage promotional spots, commercials featuring the cast of Ozzie and Harriet, and a whole lot more. The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet video scrapbook available on DVD wherever DVDs are sold through our friends at MPI Home Video. A reminder that Russ Meyer's Vixen, Russ Meyer's Super Vixens, and Russ Meyer's Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens, all available on Blu-ray from Severin Films, severinfilms.com. You can also find them Amazon.com, wherever Blu-rays are sold. To keep up with Erica Gavin, ericagavin.com, or you can follow Erica Gavin on Instagram. Robert Smith, Tony Picarello, Donna Allen, Phil Grace, and Susan Silver. Thank you so much for listening. Stay healthy, stay safe. We'll talk to you next time on TV Confidential.